Our next speaker with a bit of delay, apologies, is Jonathan Rosen. I hope, Jonathan, we have you here.
You do. Hi.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Welcome. So Jonathan is going to talk about blockchain, your data, and Jonathan comes from SWAPP protocol. So it's a very interesting discussion as well, different perhaps entry. Looking forward to the discussion. Please feel free to introduce and as well set the scene of how you want to interact. And yeah, looking forward to learning.
Oh, fantastic. I also have Dmitriy on with us.
Hi,
He's
everybody.
our co-founder of SWAPP as well.
Excellent. Welcome, guys.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. So I'm going to give a quick background on myself. Dmitry will do the same, and then we'll get into sort of a description of SWAPP and all the other different items we are currently doing. So I started my career in forensic litigation consulting, working out of New York City. So different backgrounds. Our company has, not just a traditional crypto individuals. We have those as well. We have our architects, our engineers, our developers, but we do bring a lot of different experience from the real world as well. So again, I did forensic litigation consulting. Some of the larger known cases I worked on was the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, getting money back for their claimants, working with the Department of Justice and the SEC, working through the different ideas behind what is good faith, bad faith, net winners, net losers. Also worked on the Bear Stearns residential mortgage-backed securities, worked against different governments, specifically Venezuela and PDVSA, which is their state-run oil company, and then transitioned into a role in the crypto world. Around 2015, we started seeing a lot of people stealing cryptos and moving them overseas, and people being bamboozled, not really understanding what it was to be a custodian of your own assets and what that really meant. So we started tracing and tracking and actually being successful in recovering stolen crypto, which is not very easy to do, as you may or may not know. The tracking and tracing is an easier part, but the actual recovery, we used my connections with regulatory boards, as well as different law enforcements around the world to subpoena different exchanges, centralized exchanges. And we're able to actually join with CoinFirm, which is a large reg tech firm out of the UK, and actually recover some funds. And then I got involved with SWAPP as the COO. So I'm going to let Dmitry now just take over and introduce himself, and then we can get into the company a little bit.
Hey guys, I'm Dmitry. My background is running, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. I first got into software development as a project manager, and I started my own software development company focused on web and mobile applications, and it became one of the top software development companies in the United States, and also built some projects in the blockchain sphere using Hyperledger Fabric, specifically logistics companies. And then I transitioned into the startup world where I built everything from e-commerce stores to launching companies where we had Wi-Fi, machines built into cars and trucks, and then launched a Bitcoin ATM company. So really kind of did a lot of different startups, and then built a data management company that aggregated data, the data enrichment, data monetization for businesses, and help businesses use that data for retargeting for marketing companies. And then kind of started SWAPP as we saw kind of the main problems within the data industry, that users have no control over their data at all.
So we're hoping for this to be interactive as much as possible. If anyone has any questions or concerns during the actual presentation, feel free to interrupt us. Both Dmitry and I can go and ramble on for hours on this topic. We're very passionate about it. So again, interject whenever you have any questions. So what is SWAPP? We are an actual real world company before we were a crypto company. We are a data company. So we have over 900 million data points on individuals around the world, but predominantly in the United States. And just a refresher, a data point can be anything from your credit card information to how many TVs you have in your house, who's watching said TV at what time, what channels, all that good stuff. So let's just give a sort of real world example right now, how your data gets moved. People often talk to their friends, and again, let's use cars as an example, about a Ferrari. And then they look at their phone and they say, I got an ad for a Ferrari on my phone. Who's listening to me? Who's watching me? How do they know what I'm speaking of at this moment? In reality, no one's actually listening. companies have been very good at using behavioral data to use predictive data, to be able to predict what you want to see next. And these middlemen, these data aggregates who sell and buy your data is a $1.5 trillion industry per year. So what SWAPP is doing is, let's think of it like Uber. Uber took the drivers and paired them up with the people who needed rides and took away all those middlemen. What we are doing is taking the data, the people who should own the data yourself, you the individual, it is your data, and pairing you up directly with the person who wants to purchase your data, the advertisers. And we are allowing you, the individual, to make 100% of all the revenue that streams from your data sales. Additionally, if you choose to be more secure and private, you can choose not to actually monetize your data and choose to privatize your data. So how does this actually work? You sign up to either our Web3 extension browser. Dmitry will go a little bit more into that detail in a little bit. Or you can go onto our app, either on iOS or Android. You put in your first name, your last name, and your email address. Automatically, approximately 250 data points will appear on you. Again, we discussed what a data point is. So you will go in and verify and validate each of these data points that are unique to yourself. So for example, let's use social media. It's probably the easiest to explain. You will say your Twitter handle is @Jonathan Rosen. And to confirm that, you log into Twitter. Your Facebook, your Gmail, your bank information. You may bank at, let's say, Bank of America. You'll sign into your online banking in order to verify that that's actually you. Once you've verified all these data points, we put intellectual property around them, and then we put them on the blockchain. It's encrypted end to end. You are also given something similar to a Google Authenticator code, which is unique to you, the individual, which gives you the power. Now, when an advertising company wants to buy your data, they're going to come to SWAPP protocol, and they're going to think of it like an Excel spreadsheet with filters. They're going to say, give me everybody who is between the ages of 30 to 50 years old, who is of this race, this ethnicity, a female, who earns at least $80,000 a year. We want to target them with ads. We want to pay these people $50 a week to target them. If you fit in those parameters, you will get a notification, again, in either your Web3 extension browser or on your app, saying that this company, you don't know who they are, they don't know who you are, a company wants to buy these data points off of you for this week for $50. You have three options. You can either say, yes, I accept. You click accept, your data gets released to that individual, and you get immediately $50 worth of SWAPP tokens, which is our native token, in your wallet. Number two, you can do a hybrid method and say, okay, I'm willing to sell my banking data. I'm willing to sell my behavioral data in the aspects of what stores I visited. I don't really want to sell my Google search history. I don't want to sell my kids' information. And you can go and decide a hybrid model. Obviously, the more data you're willing to provide, the more money you'll make. The less data you're willing to provide, the less money you'll make. And then the third option is you can say, I don't want to make any money, click privatize, and you won't monetize your data whatsoever. Once you've actually received that money, and let's say use example one, they want to pay you $50 for your data this week, you click accept, you now have $50 worth of SWAPP tokens in your wallet. What can you do with it? Well, you can do one of three things. We are in the final process of finalizing a bank that we are buying in Switzerland. So this will give you the ability to open an actual bank account with us, which again, will give you the ability, if you have those $50 in SWAPP tokens, on one click of a button, you can get the money directly deposited into your bank account. If you choose not to open a bank account with us, it will be deposited directly into your bank account, either at Bank of America, TD, or any other branch. It just would take a few days, however long their regulatory process is at that bank. If you want it instantaneous, you would open a bank account with us and you'd have a bank in Switzerland with that money. Additionally, we are issuing SWAPP credit cards and debit cards from this bank, and you can go use that credit card or debit card anywhere that Visa or MasterCard is currently accepted in the world. And third thing you could do is take your actual SWAPP tokens, move it over to our DeFi, our decentralized finance and yield farming platform, and you can invest it in one of our 3 staking pools currently. We have many other pools coming along. And when you stake them, you'll earn interest, and we can discuss about yield farming in the 3 different pools. But I'm not going to go too much into it. One is just very high level. One is a stablecoin pool with DAI, USDC, and USDT. One is an LP token pool on V2 of Uniswap, which is just pairing WBTC, wrapped Bitcoin with the SWAPP token, and you're providing liquidity. And then the third pool is a unique pool to just SWAPP, which acts sort of like a CD or a bond in the real world. It's just a swap token that you are staking for a period of your choice to maturity, and you decide how many swap tokens you stake. Obviously, the longer you're willing to stake, the more tokens you'll actually get. Sorry, Vanessa, you have a question?
Yes, we have a question from Areli Kissinger. So he's asking, would it work for the EU market because of regulations, or is it right now just the American one on focus?
Yes, it would, because we follow all compliance, GDPR, CCPA, and that's actually what we're trying to enforce. We're trying to work with legislators in order to have greater privacy laws. Because the main problem is right now, all these big tech companies, they are bypassing the laws using legal schemes, and they're still able to do all of the data resales that they want to do. So yes, this would work in the EU.
And to build on that, we are actively in talks with different people, regulatory boards, different governments, almost 26 different governments now, trying to change legislation on data privacy and data user rights for the individual. So whether that be in the States, where we have people on the Hill, we have lobbyists, we're talking to different governors, and we're state by state, and there's no federal rule right now, like the EU where it's federally regulated. We are trying to get something consistent across the globe where data and privacy, data and user rights are at the top and most important of everything. You own it. That is our end goal here.
Yeah, and perhaps just sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead if you have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a follow-up about the GDPR, so how that relates to that, because that I think is a good example of how you manage.
So how does it relate to GDPR? Well, users have full control over their data. So if they want to monetize their data, they give their permission. It's like when you go onto a website and it says, do you accept cookies here? Well, now the user is permitting us as their data custodial to go out and sell their data. Now, if they want to make that data private, whether it's in the Chrome extension or whether it's in the mobile app, for example, in the Chrome extension, you have privacy mode, which I'll get into a little bit later. But that privacy mode, now that cookies are going away, a lot of companies are using fingerprint technology, which are basically taking your browser, you're taking your mobile ID, and there's other ways to track you. So that privacy mode is now allowing you to not be tracked at all. And there's going to be a built-in proxy, there's going to be a built-in VPN, so that all of that data is only saved to your actual profile, and it's not being stored on databases of Facebook or Amazon or whoever, unless you want to sell it directly to them.
Exactly. And then I'm just going to touch very briefly. Sorry, unless you have another question, Vanessa.
No, that was it. Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to touch very briefly on tokenomics, just to give you an idea. Instead of doing an ICO, traditionally, we went the route of a fair launch auction. So we had 130 million tokens at a fair launch auction. We put 130 million tokens on Uniswap. On June 9th, we went live. In total, we have 766 million tokens that will ever be minted. There will be approximately 350 million in circulation at one time, and we are a deflationary token. We do have different mechanisms of burning mechanisms that are built in to our smart contracts, whether it be through compound finance or whether it be just us buying on the open market and burning. And then when you actually stake in our pools, you are essentially burning the tokens, especially in the third pool, the swap pool. You are burning those swap tokens. And then when it becomes mature, you are reminting them automatically through our smart contract. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think I've said a lot. Oh, go ahead, Vanessa.
Yes, can you perhaps elaborate a bit more about the concept of the deflationary token? So why did you choose that? And just to imagine the audience perhaps is not so familiar. What is the advantage?
Of deflationary? So supply and demand, right? It's simple economics 101. Again, we say our background is very diverse. I'm in econometrics. That was my major in school. And, we are 18 decimal points of precision. We do want to get to a point where scarcity is key. It's important that you see value and inherent value, intrinsic value in your tokens. If you just go and print and there's 2 billion of them today and another 10 billion, and you can just devalue your currency, sort of like we see today in traditional currencies with the US dollar and the way the Federal Reserve works and the way the Treasury works, where they can just print more and more money. And we can talk about the issues with fractional reserve banking. We can talk about the issues with the bond markets right now and how it's replicate of a Ponzi scheme in itself with the way they auction off to other governments. So we truly believe that having a limited supply is very important to be successful in the long run. It puts, a lot of pressure on this actual demand of this token. And again, the supply is finite, and you have, it doesn't give us the power to go and mint a lot more in case the price ever goes up. So just buying power.
Yep. So the data monetization and data privatization, that's like the core concept of our ecosystem. But what we're building here is an ecosystem, and we have several different products to facilitate that. And one of our core products, it's the SWAPP ID. So let me cover a few problems of what's currently happening with Web 2. So Web 2 applications, they rely on application-centric design, where all of that data for all of the users is stored on a single database server. And it's siloed to that application. So every single time that you go on a different social media, all of that's siloed. So you have to go and input your email, your password, and it happens with every single application. When you go for an interview, they request resumes, then you have references, previous work experience. You have to go through the interview, and the interview might not even pertain to your actual skill set. So what we're building here with Web3 is we're building this SWAPP ID, and Web3 allows us to build applications that are self-sovereign, that work on a self-sovereign model. That means that any user that has, let's say, a wallet, whether it's through ENS domains, which is what we're doing. So we're creating the SWAPP IDs that are linked exactly to your ENS domain so that you can receive cryptocurrency within any blockchain, essentially. But because of how our system is architected, because we have all of these data points attached to your SWAPP ID, now you're able to go into any application using your SWAPP ID. And because for example, your Twitter is linked, you don't have to go and log in through your Twitter account or create a new Twitter account. You have those credentials already in there if you have that created. So we're creating a place where you have basically an all-in-one solution for all of your digital assets, whether it's your social media, whether it's your degree, whether any kind of educational certificates. Obviously, NFTs, there's an NFT craze, but that's for a reason, because NFTs have actual real-life value. And NFTs can prove that you have earned something. So for example, in a certificate, you go to Udemy, you get a certificate, but you can make a copy of that certificate and show it to the interview and say, oh yeah, well, I completed a certificate, I edited on Adobe Acrobat. Is that really believable? How do I even verify that? You have to go through so many headaches. Now, if that's made as an NFT and that's attached to your SWAPP ID, you can go look on the blockchain. Okay, this person actually has these credentials. He's actually worked at this company. He actually has these testimonials and these references because they're stored on the blockchains. And this goes with creatives, this goes with financial assets, this goes with photos. And that's why we kind of launched the DApp model first, because now, one of the most important things to any individual is being able to control their financial assets. So when you have your SWAPP ID and you have the ability to send money anywhere in the world, you're also able to earn 15%, 20% interest in these different DeFi staking pools. Now you don't need to go into a million different dApps to try to find the staking pool that you want to choose. Now we'll give you a list of options here. You can stake here, you can stake here, it's your choice. But this is a way that you can earn a percentage, and you don't need a bank anymore. This essentially is your bank if you want it to be, but it makes your life a hell of a lot easier. And also works obviously as a proof of identity, which allows you to participate in different blockchains that have models that are proof of identity or proof of authority. And you can say, well, my expertise lies in blockchain, or my expertise lies in economics. So I can actually become a validator due to the expertise that I have listed on the blockchain. And SWAPP ID isn't just centered around consumers. It can also be used for businesses. So for example, businesses, now you can have your business assets linked to your SWAPP ID. You can accept payments instead of using a POS, and it becomes a lot simpler. You don't have to buy all of that tech. It's as simple as having a QR code and saying, okay, well, this person, we are requesting $13 for your sandwich. All this person has to do, okay, scan the QR code, now send the money to the business. And you have identity verification for your business, instant transaction, domestic, international, any creation by the business, like logos, trademarks, all of that can be verified on the blockchain. And that's the problems that we're solving with the SWAPP ID.
Dmitry, do you want to just touch on the bridge that we are in the middle of building as well as the different coins and places that we actually are listed and we are creating going forward in the future? For
Absolutely. Yeah, so we are currently listed on the Ethereum blockchain as well as on the Binance Smart Chain. We are doing our pre-ILO on Cronos. Cronos is Crypto.com's new chain that they were supposed to launch last week, but they're having delays. So we actually don't know when it's launching, but we're going to have a pre-ILO for that, and we're going to be launching on Polygon as well. However, as I mentioned, SWAPP ID isn't limited to only where we're located. ENS domains are pretty versatile technology, so that you can have pretty much any blockchain linked directly to your ENS domain, and you can receive crypto in any one of those blockchains. Sorry. And regarding the bridges, we are building bridges so that you can bridge your SWAPP tokens onto any of the chains that we're listed on, and we'll probably eventually open that bridge up to be used with different tokens as well.
Just to build on one of the more important points that Dmitry mentioned, we are the first company and first token that is going to be on Cronos, which is the Crypto.com chain. And it's a nice sort of transition into our next topic. It's not the first time we've worked directly with Crypto.com. We facilitated in Saratoga, New York, a few months ago. We were introduced to the horsing world, sort of the sport of kings, as we were known to be called it now. And we actually facilitated the first sale of a real thoroughbred horse in cryptocurrency. And there are articles online, you can read about it. It's very exciting. It's taking a world that I really didn't believe this until I was in it, but hasn't changed in over 100 years. Is really like going back and seeing what the world was like 100 years ago. And it is very obvious to anyone who's in sort of the crypto space what the apparent immediate needs are for them to get into the 21st century. And we have, we are in the process of helping them. The curve is slow. The learning curve is steep. And we are getting them to sort of today's day, what is happening in today's world. And we started off by the first sale in this, again, cryptocurrency for a thoroughbred horse. Additionally, we were listed today, another achievement of swaps. We were listed today on Whitebit, or yesterday, which was our first centralized exchange listing. So as Dmitry mentioned, you could buy our tokens on Uniswap for the ERC20 version or for the BEP20 version on Pancake swap. But now our first of many hopeful centralized exchanges with Whitebit listing yesterday. Additionally, in November, so November 18th to 20th, we are sponsoring a charity event in Miami. The charity is for underprivileged and homeless children. We have many celebrities who have signed up for this celebrity soccer game. Most notably, the two goalies will be Shaquille O'Neal and Jorge Masvidal, who is a UFC fighter. We are also providing on the 18th a NFT auction live at this C Hotel, Hotel C.
Mr. C, yes.
Hotel C, and we have a lot of exclusive partnerships. Specifically, one of the most notable is the Tony Leonard collection, where we have the rights to Secretariat, who is a very well-known horse who won the Triple Crown, as well as photos and other items from Joe DiMaggio, a famous baseball player, and Seattle Slew. So Dmitry, I think now would be a good time to sort of transition into the NFT marketplace, if you want to discuss that.
Yeah, sure. So
Vanessa, you have any questions, or anyone has any questions about anything up to this point?
There is one I wanted to tell that we're asking for the company,
Perfect.
The company web and connect. So I guess you are coming guys there. So I don't want to interrupt because I know you probably are a bit short on time. So go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Dmitry.
Yep. So to circle up here, so because of the November launch, we were actually going to launch our NFT marketplace roughly in 6 months. But because of the November launch, they're having a charity auction. And we proposed this idea of having an NFT auction in order to raise as much money as possible for the charities, because the charities are going to be disabled kids and kids that are homeless. So we thought it would be a great avenue to raise a lot of money, to work with different artists, to work with celebrities. However, NFTs are part of our ecosystem. As we're building out the SWAPP ID, many of these things that are going to be linked to your SWAPP ID are going to be NFTs because they're unique assets. So the NFT marketplace is extremely important for that. But we decided to take the NFT marketplace and build it in a way that nobody else is building, because there's so many of them. Coinbase and FTX and a million other ones are launching NFT marketplaces. So we thought that we need to make ours extremely unique. And what we're doing from the NFT marketplace perspective is we're kind of making it like a Shopify for NFTs. So, there's several different user types here, and we really want to empower the artists to make sure that they can sell as many NFTs as possible. So there's the different user types. There's an agent, there's a broker, there's even companies, creators, buyers, sellers. And I'll cover those a little bit. I'll cover those in detail. But agents are basically anybody that have an agency that work with NFT artists directly. So once they onboard, they can invite an artist. They charge their own fee. The artist submits an application. This is an exclusive platform. They submit the application. We approve them. And then any sale that happens from the creator, that portion goes to the agent. And the reason for that is the agent obviously has some services to offer, whether it's marketing services, whether it's helping them in creation of the NFTs, etc. The other unique feature that we have is NFT creators can set a broker fee. So when they're listing the NFT, they can say, well, I want 5% to go to any user that helps me sell my NFT. So me as a buyer, me as a seller, I go onto this marketplace, I can generate a referral link with my address, with my MetaMask address or my SWAPP ID address, and then I can go and list it on my social media. If it sells, then I'm getting that 5% commission. So we're essentially doing this multi-level user types in order to empower the artist. On top of that, we have multi-address royalty for NFTs so that artists within the application, they can collaborate with each other, message them direct, message anybody peer-to-peer on our marketplace, even have a Zoom call on our marketplace, either with a celebrity or it's with another artist. And then they can split the royalties on any kind of collections that they create. And in our V2 and V3 versions, what we want to allow, there's a major problem with the current NFT drops that every single NFT drop, they create their own website and you don't know what kind of website it is. So there's an inherent security risk. When you're going on there, you don't know if it's a rug pull, you don't know if it's a scam. You can link your wallet, boom, all of your assets are gone. So what we want to do is we want to allow users to create drops directly on the marketplace so that users can come and mint directly off of the collection. And when you mint, then it gets listed on the marketplace officially from the person that actually minted that NFT. So we're taking a different approach to the NFT world, and we want this to be integrated within our ecosystem because NFTs are so important. And that's why right now we're working with many different celebrities as well as companies with this multi-level model to onboard a company that has many different brands under them or many different personalities under them, and they can all empower them to be kind of their own artists and promote their brand value through NFTs, whether it's utility NFTs, whether it's art, we allow all of that.
Amazing. I really impressive. I think we need another session with you guys to go and unlock one after other. You have an impressive proposition. Thank you very much, Dmitry and Jonathan. I think we definitely will have to be in touch and create another opportunity because we have a lot to uncover. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, cheers. And I feel welcome to join our next speaker.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Check for our website as well as our DApp is in the chat.
Very good. I saw.
Any other questions, feel free to reach out to us directly and we will respond. But appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.